Hello and welcome to this session of Entrepreneurship Essentials. Entrepreneurship can best be learned from successful and failed entrepreneurial ventures. Today, we are going to talk about two great entrepreneurs who have made successful stories. One is our very own Dhirubhai Ambani, the other is Sophia Amoruso, about whom many of you may not be familiar with. They are successful entrepreneurs who started their life from very humble background, and they enacted success stories of a different kind. We are going to see what. Their stories bust all myths around entrepreneurship, and I am sure their stories are going to be highly inspiring for all of us, for any aspiring entrepreneur in particular. Dhirubhai Ambani, an entrepreneur par excellence. He built Reliance Industries, India's only private sector Fortune Global 500 companies, which are the largest global enterprises, 500 largest global enterprises, and Reliance is the only private sector, one of them. He set up world-class refinery. He set up best-in-class petrochemical plant using best technology in the world that now contributes about 3% of India's GDP, 5% of export, and nearly 10% of indirect tax collection of Government of India. In my previous lecture, I mentioned that as 5%, it should be between 5 and 10 in absence of any authentic, reliable information, source of information. Reliance Jio alone is going to contribute or going to add about 5.65% to per capita GDP as per a study done by one of the units of Harvard Business School. He was born in a poor family in Gujarat. His father was a school teacher, but still the financial condition was not so good. Because of pecuniary problem, he started engaging in trading very early on. At a tender age, he was selling potato fry and other things in a local marketplace. He was highly intelligent and had a high level of physical and mental energy, strong willpower, zest for life. He could undertake difficult activities and could complete them without looking back. He had high ambition to graduate and to start his own business after graduation, but the financial condition actually forced him to leave the country and go to Middle East. In fact, as per his father's advice, he went to Aden, which is part of present day Yemen, and he started his career there as a petrol pump attendant. But he soon joined a company called Abies and Co. It is a French company, and then gradually moved forward. Most importantly, he was a knowledge seeker, which is kind of unprecedented. Means his hunger for knowledge was unprecedented. He self-learned export import. While at Aden, he self-learned export import, commodity trading, marketing and distribution, currency trading, money management. This happened when commodity trading in India was not prevalent, but he learnt it hands-on. He learned trading skill, made exclusive contacts in trading and export business. He had a high ambition moving forward, so he was just preparing the foundation. He extended free service to the Gujarat community at Aden so as to learn accountancy, banking, insurance, shipping documentation. During lunch hour, he used to engage in commodity trading for hands-on training, and during weekend he used to learn English. When Shell refinery was set up at Aden, he was promoted to the manager of Avis & Co. As I said, he has a high vision, high ambition and a vision. With his ambition, he went to Aden, but in Aden, he created his own vision, and that was to set up similar kind of refinery and distribution network back home in India. So, with that vision, he came back to Bombay in 1958, but he did not have sufficient money. So, he started making comprehensive plan as to how to achieve the vision. So, he looked for a startup opportunity. He started Reliance Commercial as a spice trader in early 60s. His office comprised of just 2 chairs, 1 table, and he used to share a telephone with a neighboring office. Such was the starting of Reliance Commercial. While doing a market research, this is how, just look how he was gradually planning and executing the plan to achieve his vision. So, he was always in the lookout for business opportunities that will give him higher return. So, while doing a market research, he realized that Indian exporters were mostly focused on high margin and not quality or a strict delivery schedule. That was kind of a short term focus on profit, not really on a long term sustainable business. So, he realized that this is an opportunity, because people across the world would look for people whom they can trust, who will maintain quality, who will deliver in time, maintain commitment. So, he took that as an opportunity and he started offering quality goods, and he delivered even before schedule. So, that is how he gradually gained their trust. He chose customers who value quality. He never used to trade with customers who would be happy for low quality goods at a low cost. Moving forward, he realized that spice trade has limited volume, limited margin. So, what he was looking for better opportunity. So, he diversified into yarn trading, which was the mainstay for multinational such as Forbes. So, he made good money in trading business of yarn trading business, but here again, because he was focused on a long term vision, he was not focusing on making quick money or taking all the profit home. He wanted to create reliable, trustable supplier base or vendors. So, he did not take all the profit back home. His slogan was, loss is mine, profit I share. Meaning, if I make profit, he used to share that profit with their suppliers, and he used to absorb the losses. That is how the suppliers became loyal to Dhirubhai Ambani. He introduced a shiny variety of yarn known as bambar, and again he made quite good money. In the 60s, this is another story of his entrepreneurial vision. In the 60s, when the country was exhausted of its foreign exchange reserves, the government of India restricted import. Only the essential commodities could be imported. So, most of the yarn or synthetic fiber import was shut down, was not allowed. So, many people went out of business. And look how Dhirubhai actually identified an opportunity in this adversity, one of the main qualities of entrepreneur. So, what Dhirubhai did, he had established contact in Aden. So, he procured nylon yarn from local market, and then he exported that to his contact in Aden, he sold them at a loss, but in the process he earned foreign exchange. Using that foreign exchange, he could import synthetic fiber to the country, and because there was very few other players, so he was acting almost like a monopolist. Moving forward, he realized that yarn business has limited profit, limited prospect. So, he wanted to do some value addition to the yarn or value added business. This is something that we know, that we call forward integration. Using the yarn, he wanted to make fabric, so that he adds value and then he gets better margin. So, he put up a textile mill in Ahmedabad, in a very small patch of land that has now grown to huge industry. He imported modern and best equipment for the textile plant. That also shows his eye for quality and quality of the end product, because modern machine only would be able to make best quality fabric. So, quality had always been his main focus. The World Bank certified that the textile mill that is set up at Ahmedabad was excellent, even by developed country standard. He also maintained good network with anybody and everybody that he came across. So, back home, when he started this textile business, he hired majority of his contacts in Aden. He bypassed resistance of the established mills. What is this resistance? As we know and will see moving forward, that businessmen always try to create an entry barrier against new entrant. Particularly trading business has limited volume. So, any new entrant is going to share part of the business and part of the wealth that they are about to create. So, there were huge resistance for entry of new entrant like Dhirubhai Ambani. So, he could not actually enter into this trading part. What he did is he bypassed all these middlemen or wholesaler. He started selling his fabrics directly to the retailer. So, that is how he could sustain this business, otherwise it will be impossible. He introduced his own brand by the name Bimal, which means pure. Moving forward, he set up refineries. That was his vision at the beginning, and the refinery was such quality that the World Bank said this is one of the best refineries in the world. Reliance Industries and its many other subsidiaries now contributes to about 3% of India's GDP, 5% export, 10% of the country's indirect tax. I am repeating this slide so as to overemphasize this data. This is humongous by any standard. Imagine that we have 20 Reliance Industries today, our GDP will be almost double. A poll conducted by Times of India in 2000 voted Dhirubhai Ambani as the greatest creator of wealth in the century. So, it clearly speaks volumes of what. Our next story is about Sophia Amoruso. She started a company called Nasty Girl. That company started from almost zero, became a $240 million enterprise very quickly, even though she started from a very humble background. Let us see what. She is a migrant in US from diverse background, Greek, Italian, Portuguese. She was diagnosed with depression and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in her adolescence. Her parents divorced and she dropped out of photography school at the early age. but importantly, she had a taste for vintage clothing, and that actually helped her to make this entire story. At the age of 17, she left home. There was nobody to take care of her at home. Traveled to Sacramento, California, did various odd jobs, including working in bookstore, record shops. She found herself dumpster diving and stealing. Dumpster diving is diving into garbage dumps and salvaging some food extras that people might have dropped. So, that was her condition. She was sustaining on garbage, almost literally speaking, and she was caught stealing on several occasions. But she, as I said, she had an eye for vintage clothing. So, she used to look around. There is a chain of stores in US, particularly in US, called Salvation Army. It is run by Christian missionary for particularly for less privileged people. So, they normally sell second hand clothing. So, she found one jacket, old leather jacket, and she bought it for $18. She posed herself in that jacket as a model, and she created a page on MySpace. Those days MySpace was very popular, almost like Facebook, and she named her enterprise as Nasty Girl. Surprisingly, she could sell this jacket for $1,000. $18 was sold for $1,000. That is how an entrepreneur and a business were born. She continued this activity for a while, and when people started buying and she started making money, at the age of 22, she set up a company called Nasty Girl. When the user base was crossing 60,000, she created her own brand of vintage clothing. By 2010, Amoruso was entertaining offers from a host of venture capitalists, meaning venture capitalists were interested to fund her business, but she was turning them down because she was making quite a lot of money. However, during 2012, she accepted a deal of $50 million for equity funding so as to take her business to the next level. In 2013, Amoruso was 29 and in charge of a $240 million business empire. In 2016, she was named one of the richest self-made women in the world by Forbes. Look at some of the metrics of a business. About a quarter of her customers visit the site at least once a day. Such was the attraction, such was the loyalty. They used to stay there for at least 7 minutes. The top 10 of these customers to visit more than 100 times a month. Many admit that they refresh the page in anticipation of new arrival. So, new arrival was a regular phenomena on her site. She sold 93% of the inventory at mark price or full price, when even today discount is the order of the day for e-commerce companies. However, Sophia diversified or diverted her attention to too many other things, and the business was neglected. Success actually distracted her into various other attractive things, things that are attractive in life. In November 2016, she had to file for bankruptcy protection. Amoruso resigned as executive chairwoman. In February 2016, Nasty Girl was sold just for a meager $20 million, whereas VC themselves gave $50 million, and the valuation must have been more than $200 million at that time when they funded. Amoruso, after selling the company, obviously majority of the money went to the VCs. After selling the company, she started all over again. So, she founded Girl Boss Media in the same year, and her current net worth is around $10 million. A Netflix comedy series called Girl Boss, partially based on the story of Nasty Girl, was telecast in 2017. She recently raised another VC funding of $3.1 million to fund his growth of her burgeoning media platform. Amoruso has expressed the desire to be the next Oprah Winfrey for the millennials and beyond, with a mission to help women succeed on their own terms. The term millennial may be new, so I will just explain. Millennials are the people, are the young people who are entering into the job market in this 21st century. In her Girl Boss website, she mentions about us, our mission. We exist to redefine success for millennial women by providing the tools and connections they need to own their future. This is truly the mission that she set after exiting from Nasty Girl. Their purpose and their values, you can read them here. 5 strategies were attributed to the success of Nasty Girl. Her understanding of the customer, an eye on profit, her social skill, consistent philosophy, uncompromised and consistent ethics. She knew her customer better than any other company knowing their customer. She could understand the changing taste of the customers, meaning she could preempt what shape fashion is going to take, and she used to prepare herself with that. So, her customer never used to leave her portal and go to some other place. She knew her customer so very well, it is a reputation. Her philosophy, she has an eye for profit. Her philosophy was sell at a price which is more than the buying price, purchase price. So, she always made profit from day one. She developed a pin sharp sense of who her customers were and what they are willing to pay for, willing to pay a premium for. So, that is ensured that she makes profit all the time. She made profit all the time. Nasty Girl, particularly Sophia, was very active in the social media. In fact, her business took root from social media. So, she regarded social media as her foundation, and she always were leveraging on the social media. So, she made sure the customers are served, their ego is always titillated so that they feel enamored, and they used to post even customers' picture in the portal and many other things, so that customer feels a sense of belongingness to the company, almost like the company belongs to them. At the very least, they used to think that this is the company that understands them, that has the best interest of the customer in their mind. Obviously, uncompromised and consistent ethics is the other one. 4 reasons why it failed. It was very successful till they raised venture capital fund, but the moment money started, $50 million of cash was there, she started spending left and right. Cash is the king in entrepreneurship, and one should have the greatest of respect for money, for cash. But she started splashing cash here and there. Particularly, she started diversifying into too many things, particularly her attention, not really the business per se. As success embraced Amoruso, she started growing a knack for everything, except the business itself. After raising venture capital, she moved the company into lavish Los Angeles headquarters, opened 2 brick and mortar stores that was never there earlier. She leased a dedicated distribution center, spent a fortune on marketing. So long, marketing used to be done by everybody. Everybody in the company used to feel a sense of ownership. Everybody was selling, kind of. This led to enormous leap in the burn rate and was unsustainable. Reason number 2, of course, number 1 also subsumed in a way. Amoruso started loving everything other than the job. But as a CEO, one should love the job as CEO, because the CEO job demands more than 100% of your attention. The moment you diversify into things like TV show, writing books, you can barely make time for your venture. The third reason that people attribute for the failure is that starting is easy, scaling is hard. This is a very important point. And many successful entrepreneurship ventures, they meet early success, but they falter at the time when they actually need to scale up. Here is what Mark Zuckerberg did. He hired Sheryl Sandberg very early as his chief operating officer in order to flawlessly scale the business. We must not be ignorant about our limitation. We should not think that because the idea was mine, so I can execute everything better than anybody else. That is a mistake many entrepreneurs make. So, we must hire professional and empower them so that the business becomes autonomous, and we do what you are good at. We try to innovate new product, new services, new processes. We try to give direction to achieve our vision rather than targeting on small goals. Amoruso failed on this particular thing. She did not hire professional CEO or executives. She thought she can do it better than others. At the same time, she neglected. So, the result is obvious. Reason number 4, success is not a goal. It is a way of life in the long run. So, when she was at the top of a 240 million venture, she thought everything has been done. Now, nothing more to be done. Now, she could divert her attention for maybe self-actualization or something, so to speak. But the fact is that was not success. Success was to run the business continuously as a successful venture and grow. Amoruso did not have a long-term perspective. Here is some words of wisdom from her LinkedIn site. So, in conclusion, you see the background of these 2 entrepreneurs, you will know that anybody can dream to become an entrepreneur. One can choose to adopt the type of business based on the domain knowledge, like Dhirubhai. He gained the knowledge in petroleum, petrol and refinery and textile. So, he became successful there. Amoruso had a knack for vintage clothing, and she was successful doing that. You need tenacity, understanding and readiness to assume the risk, and have to be passionate about execution. Dream big, remain passionate and focus your energy to execute the dream. Success is on your way. Thank you.